Hey everybody, Sean Kennedy here. Thanks for coming by Open Visual Effects to check out this quick little video. It's kind of a refresher on mats and creating mats from the color channels of your footage. In my popular Natron compositing tutorial, a lot of people seem to get stuck on the parts where we're creating some holdout mats using the actual footage. The shuffle node I know can be kind of confusing, but I thought I'd do a little refresher here and just kind of run you through using a few different examples. I got a bunch of different examples actually. This is the footage I used in the actual tutorial where we had to put a mural on the wall and I wanted these vines to look like they were growing over the mural. And you could roto that or paint that. It's a moving shot though, so it'd take a long time. You got to track it all in, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot to do. It's easy if you could just pull a mat from the actual footage itself. You could try keying it, but there's all kinds of red stuff and there's blacks and whites, and it's never going to be a nice key. However, if you take a look through the color channels, here we are in Natron. I'm just going to flip through using red, green, and blue RGB on your keyboard. You can also do it up here, red, green. You can see it even outlines that in whatever color you're in, so you know. But you can also on your keyboard just hit RGB and then hit again to jump back. So if you flip through the channels here, you can see exactly what's happening, right? It's looking at the color information from each of those channels as 1 through 0, 0 to 1. So, like for example, here in the full color thing, you can see there's a big blue bar up here. So in red and green, you know, especially in red, there's not much red in the blue thing. So it's going to be very dark, just like there's not much red over here in these dark vines. It's mostly green and black. So here in the red channel, those are going to come out as, you know, close to 0, darker. Whereas something really red, like their skin tones and ears, some of these plants down here, those are going to come out as brighter. Things that are white come out as much brighter because they're like the sidewalk here is super bright, so you can see it's going to be bright in every color channel. However, this blue thing up here kind of disappears when you go to the blue channel because it's kind of the same tones, same values as the rest of the wall. And you can see if we're trying to pull a mat off these vines, red's not good, green's not that great either, but blue is spectacular. And that's where your shuffle node comes in, right? So if you grab a shuffle node, all I did was hit tab to search. I started typing shuffle and hit enter when I found it. I'm going to connect the B pipe in, and let's take a look at that. And basically, let's go back to, actually, let's hit A and go to the alpha channel so you can see what's going on here. What we've done is we plugged in the B, right? You could also plug in the A or plug the A into a different piece of footage or whatever you want, or a roto or anything you want. But for now, we've just got it plugged into B, so everything's pulling from B. So the output red from this node is going to be the B pipe, the red channel, right? The green is going to be the green channel from the B pipe. The blue channel is going to be the blue from the B pipe. And then the alpha is also going to be the alpha from the B pipe. However, that's where you can switch it. In this alpha, if you want to switch it, you can switch it to anything. You can switch it to whatever's plugged into A, 0, which is nothing, black, 1, which is white, which is what it is by default. And then you can pick anything from that B pipe as well. And we're going to go with that blue channel. So hit the blue channel, and now you can see our alpha looks just like the blue channel. Now you can throw a grade node on here, or whatever node you prefer to color correct. I typically use the grade for messing around with alpha channels. I'm going to turn on clamp white so that both clamp white and clamp black are both on. You can get some funky things happening if you start letting your alpha channels go beyond 1 and 0. I'm going to activate the alpha channel so that all these tools, this node actually does affect the alpha channel. And now I'm just going to use these first two to kind of dial in what I want. And what I want is something harsh, black and white, like that kind of. And that gives us, it can even go a little bit higher on the white, not too much higher. And that gives us a really nice mat on those vines. So now you can use that. If you wanted to put something behind those vines, you can use this as that. You can use this as a mask to do that. So yeah, I've got a few other examples in here. Let's let this one alone. It's taking long to load. This is just another example of reds, greens, blues, and what they do as you flip through the channels. Like her dress is so bright in the red, and then really dark in the green and blue. This garbage can, I'm guessing, is what it is, kind of vanishes in the blue, and is a black spot in the red. And you can use all that information by using the shuffle node. You could, if you need to color correct that blue garbage can, it'd be very easy to kind of isolate it using one of those color channels. Another example here would be this, what I've got here, which is a piece of footage. If you wanted to replace this sky, for example, and this is moving footage. Not this particular, I think I only have one frame of the footage in here, but anyway, it is moving footage. You don't want to roto all these trees. You don't want to roto, the ground stuff. You spend forever rotoing this. And it's very easy to just throw in a shuffle node, and let's take a look. Go to our alpha, and let's take a look at what these look like. Let's look at the red. Not too bad, not great either. The gray values are the same kind of in the grass, in the background mountains, and in the blue sky. So even though we've got a lot of good contrast around the tree edges, overall it's not good contrast. So let's take a look at the green. A little bit better. Grass is very bright, but the sky is looking a little bit better. I feel like we might be able to use the grade node and kind of crush this up to white. But let's take a look at the blue channel as well, and look at that. That's spectacular. All kinds of, this looks great. This is spectacular. The grass went kind of dark. The sky and background mountains went kind of bright. We can throw a grade node on there. I'm just hitting G to throw the grade node on. Turn on my clamp white to make sure it affects the alpha. And now we can start crushing this, right? And get a really nice matte out of it. So yeah, there you go. You can dial it in. You can create garbage rotos for in here, and use a different grade node in here to kind of push that a little further while still keeping a lot of the detail on these things. You can create a garbage matte for down here to get rid of all these white specks. So yeah, that's basically it. You also, if you wanted to use it as a tree holdout, you just throw an invert on it. So I just hit tab. I start typing invert. There it is under color. You can go up here and look around for all these things, right? Invert under the color tab, but I just search for things. And there you can see we can still kind of dial things in a bit as well. So very easy to get mattes from your footage itself. This also works really well on hair. For example, this, right? Now, granted, let me move this one out of the way. We'll get to that one in a second. If I was going to do, right, if you're going to key this, give me the other key color. There it is. Source, right? We take a look at this and we switch it to green, and it should fill in. There we go. So it's expanding our matte a little bit. We want the foreground and we want the color, and we want to set this to green. And let's take a look. So, just an initial keying setup, it gets a lot of the good hair detail. There's a lot more going on in a keyer as far as despill and color correction stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it's doing a lot more than just just pulling that edge that makes it beneficial to use a keyer. But if you didn't want to, or if you needed extra hair detail, I'm just moving this out of the way a little bit. If you did need to get some extra hair detail in there, you can go through the color channels again. So if we take a look at red, that's obviously useless. Green, pretty dang good. Blue is also pretty good. And you can see all those little details in there, both in the green and the blue channel. And you can go ahead and use either. Let's throw this on our shuffle, plug in the B, take a look at it, and go to the alpha channel and switch it to the green. So now we can start dialing that in as well. Again, clamp alpha and start tweaking it. And you don't want to clip anything, right? You just want to You just kind of want to bring out some of that detail. And again, you can invert and see what you get. And you can even, once you do that, you can still even throw on another grade node and still dial things in a little bit. Whatever your preferred method is of color correcting. All these different sliders are going to do different things, of course, but anyway, you can see what that does exactly. Getting a lot more extra little hair detail that you could then use behind your key to kind of patch in extra hair for whatever you're doing. And that also works when you don't have a green screen. For example, this shot, right? She's not against a green screen, but what if you had to put something on the wall back there? You've got to pull a mat of her hair. Do the same exact thing, right? Grab your shuffle, and we've got it plugged into the B. We can quickly jump through red, green, blue. They all look pretty good. Blue's seems to have, you can see how the highlight parts of her hair stay darker in the blue channel. So we're going to use the blue channel. And the blue channel often does that, often does have the nicest contrast, but on most cameras, it also traditionally uses the most compression, has the least color information. So it tends to get chunky and blobby and blurry, which you can actually see. If we go back here, you can actually see that in this footage, that the blue channel is getting some real garbage edge up here, right? If we were to look at this footage and go red, green, blue, green looks like there might be some decent detail in there. It's hard to tell, but the red and blue are just blotchy and crappy. Of course, this footage was a little bit better of a camera, so we don't have too much of an issue with that on this, but that is true of film cameras as well. A lot of film cameras, the blue channel is usually the worst, even when it's the most useful. So you just have to deal with it. Grade, clamp white, alpha, and then we can start tweaking our mat, right? If you really want to, you can actually throw the invert before it. If you want to work in, real color kind of space, set this back to 1, and then you can really kind of work in the space you're looking at, or the space that you might be using it. So you look at all that hair detail we can get. That's pretty amazing, right? That's just spectacular. And of course, you'd want to do garbage mats or edge mats, whatever. But anyway, this is the idea. I had some other things in here to show, but I don't think I think I've covered it all. I think that really, you can see now how you could use a red channel, for example, to kind of color correct these rocks without touching anything else. You'd still probably have to do some garbage roto, because in the red channel, this is always going to come out as red just because it's bright, or it's going to come out as white. But you could, it'd be pretty easy to get a nice mat for these rocks. This kind of thing, if you wanted to color correct this trunk to match the rest of this red beat up car, very easy to do. Just using your color channels. You can jump through and see actually the contrast. The green looks like it's got the most contrast in this one, so that's kind of probably where I'd go there. But yeah, that's the general idea of using mats in Natron or Nuke or whatever. There are other tools. There's other shuffle tools. There's channel copy tools and things like that. My preferred way is the shuffle. If you're dealing with a lot more channels and you need to shuffle things around, that's a different tutorial. But for basic, basic pulling mat. Oh, Luma key, right? Let's take a quick look at that. So here's a shot, right? Luma keying is also, it's sort of a way not to use a color channel so much, but to use the combined luminance of the image to pull a mat. So right now, if we take a look at this image, which has some bright spots and is mostly dark, the alpha channel is completely black. There is no alpha channel. As soon as we throw a keyer on here, and the default keyer, it's just called keyer in both Natron and Nuke, it's a luminance keyer. So once we add that on, if we switch to the alpha channel, you can already see it's doing something. It's already dropping out those bright things. And what we can do, we can sample if we wanted, I think, and we can get a little bit better. And then we can start kind of, you can see by sampling, it basically automatically kind of sets a lot of this stuff. And then let's go ahead and just try and use that. I'm going to throw an invert on this because I want to be able to affect, the bright areas, not the walls. I'm also going to throw, you can even throw grade node after. You could do all these changes in the luminance thing, or you can do them here after the fact, which is what I'm doing. I'm just throwing a grade node on that alpha after, like that. And then we could, going back to our original footage, if we wanted to change the color of that, plug in the source, we use that as a matte by plugging it into the mask. And now we can change, I'm going to use the multiply. You can change that sunlight to whatever color you want. Greenish, I don't know what planet we're on here, but anyway, you get the idea. You can see we can even, let me turn up the brights a bit. We can expand it even further by, you can then go in and tweak. So you can see we're not really touching anything except the window, the sunlight, the bright spots that it's hitting. It's a really easy way to get that kind of an effect happening. And that, again, that works on everything. It's not going to be as intricate as pulling a channel itself. In some cases it's better, in some cases it's worse. In this case, where you actually want to change the actual light in the scene, it's ideal. In a case like this thing, I don't think it would probably be the best option because this blue is not going to come out as very luminant. It's not going to be very bright, so you're not going to get a good pull off of this. So anyway, I hope that helps you with answers a lot of your questions about pulling mattes from your footage or dealing with the shuffle node and how that shuffle node works. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in seeing how to do all the same stuff in Blender, check out the next tutorial. I've got it all same exact stuff in there.